The town of Fairview had always seemed like one of those places you only saw in postcards, white picket fences, friendly waves from neighbors, and the illusion of peace resting quietly beneath magnolia trees. But beneath the gentle facade, where justice and power intersected, something darker often stirred, something that would soon come crashing to the surface. At the center of this unfolding story was Dr. Camille Ross, one of the most respected cardiovascular surgeons in the country. At 40, Camille had accomplished what most surgeons only dreamed of. She had performed some of the most complex heart surgeries on record and saved lives others had already written off. Her name was etched into journals, taught in classrooms, and spoken with admiration in hospitals nationwide. She had declined offers from prestigious institutions across the country, not because she wasn't flattered, but because Camille didn't care for fame or fortune. She became a doctor for one simple reason. She believed every human life mattered, no matter the name, background, or skin color. It was already late evening in Boston when Camille was wrapping up at her private practice. She was tired, but not unusually so. Being a surgeon meant learning to live with exhaustion. Her assistant had just left, and Camille was reviewing the post-operative report from her last patient when her phone rang. The name on the screen was unfamiliar. She answered with a polite, "This is Dr. Ross." The voice on the other end trembled. "Dr. Ross, my name is Chief Raymond Calder from Fairview. I need your help. It's my daughter, Emily. She's only 16. She collapsed from a cardiac episode, and the doctors here say her heart defect is beyond their expertise. They said only you could save her." Camille's breath caught slightly at the desperation in his voice. For a police chief to beget meant this wasn't just a medical crisis. This was a father clinging to his child's life. "Chief Calder, I'll need her medical files sent to my email immediately, and the address of the hospital," Camille responded, her voice steady, already moving toward her bag. "I'm on my way." Within 20 minutes, Camille had packed her portable kit, her laptop, and what she needed for a roadside emergency. Flying would take too long. Fairview was 5 hours by car, and every second counted. The gravity of the situation pushed her SUV forward through the dark, winding highways of New England. Beside her, the laptop screen glowed with Emily Calder's records. Her condition was severe atrioventricular septal defect, complicated by arrhythmia. If surgery wasn't performed quickly, her heart would fail entirely. As Camille focused on the case, her mind drifted to the precision required, the techniques she would use, and the potential complications she might face in the OR. But despite her focus, something in the back of her mind wouldn't settle. Camille had driven through small towns like Fairview before. She knew too well the wary glances, the double takes, the suspicion cast her way. As a black woman in a white coat, especially in a town like Fairview, her credentials had to scream louder than her words ever could. She remembered the cold stares in some hospitals, the whispers in conference halls, the moments when her presence seemed like an error. But none of it had stopped her. It only fueled her resolve. As the miles passed beneath her wheels, Camille remained alert, checking the GPS, watching the clock. Time was slipping, and Emily's window for survival was narrowing. She passed the city limits of Fairview just past 2 a.m. The streets were quiet, nearly deserted. As the hospital came within 10 miles, red and blue lights suddenly flickered in her rearview mirror. She sighed. A patrol car. Camille slowed and pulled over. She wasn't speeding. Everything was in order. Still, something in her gut turned. The way the officers approached told her this wasn't going to be routine. 2 men stepped out. One, burly and red-faced, approached her driver's side with his hand resting casually on his gun. The other lingered behind, eyes scanning like a predator's. "License and registration," the first officer barked. Camille handed him her credentials calmly. "Officers, I assure you I'm not speeding. I am Dr. Camille Ross. I'm on my way to Fairview Regional Hospital. I was personally requested by Chief Calder. His daughter is dying, and I'm her only chance." The 2 officers exchanged glances, then smirked. "Calder called you?" the second officer scoffed. At this hour? You expect us to believe that. Camille's jaw tightened. If you don't believe me, call him. Don't tell us how to do our job. The first officer snapped, now holding her documents hostage. Black woman driving in from out of town in the middle of the night, claiming she's a surgeon here to save the police chief's kid. You see how that sounds? What I see, Camille replied, controlling her voice, is a 16-year-old girl running out of time while you waste minutes on your assumptions. The first officer leaned in closer, now clearly agitated. What did you just say? I said, Camille repeated. You're delaying an emergency procedure. If Emily Calder dies, her blood is on your hands. That was when the second officer drew his gun. Camille froze. The steel barrel hovered inches from her window. Don't you dare threaten us, he growled. One more word out of your mouth, and you'll regret it. Her voice trembled, but remained firm. Let me call Chief Calder. The officer laughed, but didn't lower the weapon. Camille picked up her phone with trembling hands and dialed. When Chief Calder answered, her voice spilled over with urgency. Chief, I've been pulled over by your officers. They don't believe me. They've drawn weapons. Please, talk to them. There was a pause on the line. Then Calder's voice hardened. Put me on with them. Now. Camille slowly handed over the phone. The officer stared at her, then reluctantly took it. He listened for less than 20 seconds before his face lost color. His posture changed. He quickly holstered his weapon. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. He handed her phone and documents back, eyes now lowered. You're free to go. We apologize for the misunderstanding. Camille didn't speak. She simply started her engine and drove off into the night, every second echoing with fury. She reached Fairview Hospital at 3:07 a.m. The emergency team was already assembled. Chief Calder met her at the door, his face hollow with dread. She's inside, he said. They've been keeping her stable, but it's getting worse. Camille wasted no time. She scrubbed in, took control, and entered the OR. But as she checked the monitor, her heart sank. Emily's heart had just flatlined. They tried everything: CPR, electric shocks, medication. Camille worked with the intensity of someone fighting death itself. But 23 minutes later, she had to say the words no father ever wants to hear. Time of death, 3:29 a.m. She stood in silence, drenched in sweat. Then she stepped out into the hallway where Chief Calder stood. I'm sorry, she whispered. I did everything I could. His knees gave way. His sobs echoed through the corridor. But when he looked up, his grief had turned to rage. Who stopped you? Camille didn't answer. She didn't need to. I'll find out, Calder growled. I have dashcam footage, Camille said softly. They pulled a gun on me. Calder didn't reply. He turned, phone already in hand. Moments later, two names were being read over the line. The officers who delayed Camille detectives Brody and Mullins were suspended by sunrise. By noon, the story had spread through the department. No one could believe it. Calder, a man of the law, was taking on his own men. And he wasn't done. A full investigation was launched. Press releases were issued. The footage was made public. Camille's calm, professional voice on camera contrasted painfully with the threats hurled at her. When the media asked Calder why he was pursuing such aggressive action, he replied firmly at a press conference. My daughter died because two officers saw a black woman and assumed she was a threat. Not a surgeon, not a hero, a threat. That is not just bias. That is lethal prejudice. Camille stood in the back of the room, watching. Fairview changed that week. Protests lined the courthouse. Signs reading justice for Emily and doctors not threats filled the square. Dr. Camille Ross returned to Boston quietly. But before she left, she handed Calder a letter. Thank you, it read, for being a father and for being a leader when it mattered most. Change begins when someone refuses to accept silence. In the months that followed, the two officers were dismissed. Calder began implementing anti-bias training, partnered with civil rights advocates, and invited Camille to speak at the state medical board on racial profiling in emergency care. Emily's death was a tragedy, but in that tragedy, a town opened its eyes, and Justice Wildfire, too, late finally found a voice.